let me invite everybody back from the break. And I'm just going to shoot this over to our next presenters, which are Sky-Skan and SSIA.
Great. Well, hi everyone. It's Glenn here from Sky-Skan, and with the world slowly opening up, Sky-Skan and SSIA Tech have both been quite busy with development and systems upgrades and installs around the globe. But we're going to hold off with a traditional show and tell PowerPoint presentation, but we'll be happy to elaborate on our current activities later in our breakout room. The conference organizers have asked us to do an educational presentation. We happily accept the request to show how our systems are used on a daily basis. Hundreds of customers around the world are using DigitalSky and dark software in their domes to teach science concepts. We've always strived to emphasize the live presentation when developing DigitalSky, and this continues to be our focus as we work on the next stage of development. Unlike conventional presentation and teaching tools such as PowerPoint and recorded videos, these real-time tools provide the opportunity to change direction on the fly, allowing for greater versatility and interactivity during the presentations with students and the general public. For example, the ability to answer questions or even demonstrate answers live. With advances in technology, these tools have also advanced, not only making show programming easier and quicker, but also imagery which looks closer to reality. Students in particular have quite the sophisticated palette when it comes to visual expectations, and we feel we're up there to meet these expectations. So with this, I'd like to hand you over to Troy Whitmer, one of our content developers, who will bring you stories from Mars using our DigitalSky Dark Matter software tools. So Troy, take it away.
Thank you, Glenn. Hello, everybody. I'm Troy Whitmer, and I'll be taking you down one path of humanity's quests for life on other worlds. I was told to make an educational presentation for today, and I might have had a little bit too much fun with it. For this demonstration, I'll be showing you DigitalSky Dark Matter, similar to how a theater operator might have it set up. So I'll give you a bit of a digital over-the-shoulder look here. Quickly adjust some settings so you should hear correct audio. One more. Give me my menu back. And optimize for clip. All right, so I will be flying in real time. As we all know, apologies in advance, there may be the unexpected detour or hiccup, and as you may have heard, Windows Update just snuck by on me and made Zoom crash a moment ago, so fingers crossed we don't have any other technical hiccups. All right, so with that set in mind, I will just get the scene started here. Get the scene going, turn some gentle music on here. Let's see, where was ambient? There we are. So we, as humans, have long looked to the sky and wondered who else might be out there, and that curiosity has driven us to take massive steps into the universe. The first major foray into the vacuum of space took our collective consciousness to our gravity-bound satellite, our moon. It became apparent there would not be any form of life as we know it, largely owing to lack of atmosphere and liquid water. We had a lot of fun up there, though, learned many good things, advanced technologies, but after racing around in buggies, playing golf, and bringing back some pretty interesting rocks, we decided it's best to shift our sights to lands with a higher likelihood of providing the needs to sustain life. And as a quick side note, I do have a relatively concise set of buttons here. This is a combination of a variety of different control sources, but of course I can fly live at any point, just trying to keep myself relatively on track. So one of our neighbors here happens to check many of the boxes to support life. On Mars, we observed an atmosphere, weather patterns, and what appeared to be evidence of erosion from prior sources of water. Life as we know it revolves around this liquid. Water covers about 71% of our planet's surface, but most other celestial bodies are not so fortunate. Despite its dry appearance, there was still hope Mars could be our first chance to find evidence of life, so as soon as technology allowed, we sent tools to take a closer look. As was often the case in the space race, Russia managed the first soft touchdown on Mars in 1971, which returned one partial image of the surface, technically the first ground shot of Mars. Unfortunately, within 20 seconds of its deployment, it failed and was never heard from again. It's a shame too, as I really liked the way it moved, and I would have loved to see it shuffling along with its little skids, dragging its belly along for each step. Oh, I'm gonna hide that control, you don't need to see all that. Unfortunately, though, it did not get much chance to glean any information off of the craft or off of the surface because of its failure. However, its orbiting craft did bring us our first altitude map of Mars, so our knowledge was advanced regardless. Thankfully, later missions did survive the drama of descent to the Martian surface, with Little Sojourner up front here being the first autonomous wheeled vehicle to drive on another planet. It managed to analyze rocks for months, despite only being sent up for a week-long mission. And ultimately, this craft raised more questions than it could ever answer about Martian geological activity. In the middle here, you'll see one of the twin rovers, Spirit and Opportunity. Those two hardy craft vastly outlasted their 90-day mission. Spirit kept beaming back data for 7 years, and Opportunity drove into its final dust storm 15 years after being deployed. Their primary goal was to seek evidence of past water activity, and they found plenty of that. And then the largest craft on the end here was the one launched with the Mars Science Laboratory mission, Curiosity. This rover was equipped with instruments that sought out a variety of features for habitability in the hopes of demonstrating Mars could have once supported some form of life. It was equipped with an articulating arm holding a variety of tools, and also was enabled with the ability to process samples on board to discover new sciences and look finer and closer at the environment and details than ever before. As of this Friday, August the 6th, Curiosity will have been driving on Mars for 9 years and is still rolling along performing its duties. In that time, it has found many fascinating facts, namely that there is evidence of organic molecules, including benzene and propane. Now, while this does not confirm prior life, it does show some of the core building blocks are present, and this highly capable craft was the testbed and basis technologically for the latest generation of tools searching for life, which launched just a year and change ago with the Mars 2020 mission, and that is the Perseverance rover and the Ingenuity helicopter. These two vehicles advance our search for life to the highest level yet. Perseverance boasts a variety of tools that look closer than ever before at the potential for life on Mars. They landed in Jezero Crater, which was once a vast lake, possibly filled twice, as evidenced by the telltale rivers and deltas coming in from the west and north into the area, and erosion heading off into these little, kind of rivers, creeks, or canyons to the east. It has a whole host of new instruments and improved technologies to help us search for signs of life, biology, or any trace of anything exciting. One of these is the tool Pixel. This sends beams of X-ray radiation out of this aperture to then look for pretty much any trace of any biofilm. And you'll see I can pull up these little informational cards that probably not super legible since we aren't in a planetarium, but they'll help audiences have a better idea of what's going on and, kind of a pop-up video view of what's happening here. As with previous rovers, Perseverance has a drill to be able to take a nice sample of the ground, but it boasts a new trick in that in addition to taking samples and being able to do better onboard processing, it can also hermetically seal the samples away and store them in a common cache on the surface of Mars, protected from the conditions and environment, hopefully for later retrieval and return to Earth to be analyzed by scientists back here. We'll see if that manages to happen, but it is a cool option. Close that out. It also has an interesting new tool, aptly named Sherlock, after the detective, that uses ultraviolet light in day or the dead of night to be able to search for anything, just like a crime scene detective would, that might have once had some trace of life. We have Sherlock, and then its paired camera, Watson, over here, because scientists have to be cheeky buggers like that. Sherlock also has one other cool trick up its sleeve. In its calibration targets, exposed to the elements, are a series of materials for potential future spacesuits. And this will help us know whether or not the kind of materials we're trying to outfit people with can actually sustain life and, hold up against these environments. And here I'm just going to fly in a little closer since we're not on a dome, you can't really get a good look until I kind of climb on in here. But you can see we have a variety of different material samples, and over time we'll see what works best and hopefully outfit our future astronauts with something that'll hold. To keep eyes on this whole mission, they've outfitted Perseverance with a suite of new technology. One of the best options here is SuperCam. This has an inbuilt laser, spectrometer, and camera to be able to blast dust away from materials, then analyze with a spectrometer and get a fair sense of if it's a sample worth taking from up to 20 feet away, helping it to make much quicker work of searching through all the dust and rocks. To ensure that all these various cameras are performing at their best, you'll see a variety of little shapes and targets around the craft. These are all calibration targets of different materials, different reflectivities, different brightness, and in the case of this one right here, even has some three-dimensional shape to help calibrate depth. Since we can't do anything with this craft directly, given how far away it is and how long it takes for signals to travel, up to 24 to 25 minutes at its worst, it has to rely on its own stereo depth vision, and its primary eyes are the Mastcam Z stereo cameras. High definition, full color, which is kind of rare for space, they tend to just be black and white with filters. And especially cool with this is it boasts high-end zoom lenses that allow it to see something as small as a fly from 100 yards away. One other trick they added to this new craft is Meta, a full weather suite, there we are, of tools, both on the neck as well as down here on the body, that enable Perseverance to be its own weather station and allow scientists to better plot up when and where is the best place to perform some of their more sensitive tasks. If at any point people have any further curiosities, you can press one of these info buttons and it'll pull up a web browser that takes you to an information page about these tools, so you can see more information about what it is, where it is, how it does it, or just for the fun of it, if you want to see how the weather on Mars is, which as of just a couple days ago was a balmy -13, so they keep it pretty cool up on Mars.
3 minutes.
Sweet. See, one of the things that I think is most fascinating on this craft is MOXIE, the oxygen generator that they have been testing so that we might actually be able to give astronauts something to breathe while up there, and especially if they ever want to return, they're going to need a lot of oxygen to fuel those rockets. Another new tool that they've put onto this, and never deployed before on any ground-based craft, is RIMFAX, a ground-penetrating radar. So as it drives across this once-upon-a-lake bed, it might actually be able to shoot energy down, kick out an echo, and see whether or not there was once ice or anything down there worth sampling. But the piece de resistance, the peak cool thing that they've added to this new mission would have to be Ingenuity, the new small multi-blade helicopter. And this is the first time we've been able to demonstrate flight on another planet. Now, flight is no small feat, since the Martian atmosphere is so thin at less than 1% of Earth's, that flying at ground level here is equivalent to flying at 112,000 feet on the Earth, which is over 3 times the cruising altitude for airplanes. So as data beams back in from these missions and others still going far beyond their expectations, we continue to glean more secrets from lands just too far or too hostile to get humans to yet. With all of this technology and the brilliant minds focused so closely, we are certainly doing our best to find out if there was ever life on Mars. So these missions are opening up new opportunities to discover the secrets of the universe around us and bring us one step closer to finding if, when, and where there may have been life outside of our fragile, habitable bubble back here on Earth. So everything I've just shown in that little show is run live in dark matter here, using assets and scripts I've prepared, but nothing in there is out of reach for any user. All of that functionality is absolutely accessible to all people who take the time to poke through or just want to make something new, local, or custom. So with an ever-growing body of scientific knowledge built in, numerous updates of noteworthy missions, and the ability to craft whatever you want, you can surely find something to bring new experiences to audiences and academics of all ages and interests. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Troy. And yes, thank you for turning off the ambient music too. All right, so we'll look for those folks later on in the vendor booth if you have any questions.